All right, our most requested video, KDSS recovery point install. You will get a box. It'll look something like this. Open the box up. Inside it will be all of the stuff you need to install the recovery point on your vehicle. First at the top, this right here is your nut plates that will be inserted into your frame. I cannot stress this enough. Be careful with the sticks that are just tacked onto the plates. Do not try to break them off. You will also have your bolt kit. It has all the remaining bolts that you need. And you will also have the 2 recovery points. Our recovery points are the same for KDSS and non-KDSS. The only thing that changes is the hardware pack that is included. All right, head over to your 4Runner next. I would suggest putting it up on jack stands and taking the wheels and tires off just so you can move around it a little better and have more room to work. The rear hole on the passenger side is open and the front hole is blocked fully or halfway blocked like you see here. Just depends on the frame. The driver's side is completely opposite of that. The front hole is going to be open and the rear hole is going to be fully blocked or halfway blocked. We will be using a 15-30-second drill bit to drill out the holes in your frame fully. Again, the holes that are already open, you don't have to touch. It's the holes that are halfway blocked. All right, so passenger side, it's the easier of the two because you can drill straight up, as you can see here. Just drill straight up. There's nothing in the frame you're gonna hit. There's literally nothing in there. Once that is done, we'll move over to the driver's side. All right, now to the driver's side. You can drill this hole at an angle. So the KDSS bar is in the way. I wouldn't recommend taking the bar off unless you really have to. Just the chance of stripping bolts out and breaking bolts off. Just drill the hole at an angle. Use the factory hole as a guide. You will see why it does not matter. It's drilled at an angle here in a second. So just drill that all the way through. Again, nothing in the frame to worry about. Just send that drill bit through. All right, now we're gonna check our holes, make sure they are good. Grab your flat plate that is not threaded and just pass it through like that with the 2 bolts sticking up. You're just making sure your distances are correct. Same thing on the passenger side. There you go. Now grab a 12mm socket and you're gonna reach up in there and there is a 12mm headed bolt up on the side of the frame. This bolt holds a bracket for your power steering cooler line. We're gonna take that bolt out and throw it away. We're gonna give you a new bolt in your kit. Once the bolt is out, just take that bracket, make sure it is loose and bend it out a little bit. The recovery point will pass between it and the frame. Do the same thing for the driver's side. All right, some 4Runners, this weld right here sticks out. Check both sides, both the driver and passenger side. If you have a big booger weld on there, you'll need to grind that down flush. This 4Runner does not need it. The other section is right there to look out for. If you have some big booger welds, make sure to grind those down. Grab your knife or a screwdriver or something, take off the sticker on the side of your frame, the lower one if you have them. and just throw that little sticker away. We'll be using this bolt hole for our recovery point. Grab some anti-seize of your choice if you live in one of those high salt areas. Anti-seize the bigger bolt that we give you. Hold the recovery point up. Make sure the recovery point is sandwiched between the frame and that bracket on the top. Go ahead and start the bolt into the big hole. Do not tighten it down. Do not snug it up. Just start it. That way we can wiggle the recovery point as needed. Then grab your small bolt that we give you. As you can see here, the order is bolt, bracket, recovery point, frame. Again, start it by hand. Do not tighten it down yet. Do the same thing for the passenger side. Go ahead and anti-seize the bolts that are going in through your frame. It should be the only bolts you have remaining at this point, laying on your workbench. And grab your nut plate and go to the passenger side of the 4Runner. All right, I'm gonna pause the video here. Our written instructions online tell you to pull the front bumper off. In this video, I'm going to show you the new way that we like to do this. If you want to pull your front bumper off, go for it. But the way I'm doing in this video is the way I have found is really the easiest way to do it. It's a little harder, if that makes sense, but it's a lot easier because you're not pulling your entire front bumper off. All right, so these are the instructions of how to do it without pulling your front bumper off. If you have to pull your front bumper off, or you want to pull your front bumper off, once you take your crash bar off, you have holes in the frame that you can pass the recovery point through straight through, and you don't have to worry about doing this weaving stuff. Up to you. I just prefer doing them through the side of the frame like I'm going to show you. So that's what this video is about. All right, passenger side, pop that rectangle cover off with a knife or a screwdriver. Then you're gonna grab one of your nut plates. Be careful not to break off the end where it's just tacked weld on. Hold it up to your frame. You're gonna bend the fishing wire to form the same shape as if it were sitting in the frame and be able to pass through the hole, okay? It needs to look something like this when you're done. It's angled up, and then it's also angled out to the side. Something like that. Then take the nut plate and insert it into the frame. What you want to do is start fishing it around to push it forward to line up with the holes. This is going to take a few minutes. It probably took me 2 or 3 minutes to finally get the wire bent right to where both holes, as you can see, line up with the nuts on the nut plate. It's going to take a little bit of patience, but I find it's a lot easier than pulling off the front bumper. Grab your 2 bolts and the nut plate backing and try gently starting the bolts. You cannot push up really hard because the nut plate is just floating around in there right now. Once one bolt starts, the second bolt's super easy. As you can see here, the rear bolt is the one that wanted to start. So, get it inserted. One nice thing is once you get one started, you're able to pull down on the bolt, and it makes it a lot easier to get the second one started because then the nut plate's not wandering around and they're loose. Once you get the second one started, hand tight both of them and stop there. Moving over to the driver's side. The driver's side has the same hole, but the KDSS lines are in the way. Take the 12mm bolt out, save that. We will be reusing that. You can flex these lines out of the way just a little bit. Do not go ham on them. They are solid lines. They are not designed to flex, but you can wiggle them a little bit. Do the same exact thing with your nut plate. As you can see here, I've already bent it up to the right shape it needs to be to live where it needs to go. Slightly pull down on that, just enough to get that nut plate going in there. Once the nut plate goes in, there you go. You have a hole in the side of your frame on this side. Sometimes they have a plastic cover over them. If you pop that little plastic cover out, you can actually reach your finger down into that hole and feel the nut plate and move the nut plate around. This side I find is a lot easier just simply because that hole. The passenger side does not have that hole. Get the nut plate close to where it fits. And then stick your finger in through the hole in the frame and you can precisely move the nut plate where you need it to go. Grab a bolt and the backing plate, put your finger down in the frame. You can actually hold the nut plate down and start the bolt. Like I said, this side's a lot easier to do. Second bolt, get it up in there. So you can see with my left hand, I'm pulling down on the bolt that's already in. It just keeps the plate from moving around. If that doesn't work, stick your finger in there, move the plate where you need it, hold it down, get the bolt started. We're gonna snug down the big bolt, the medium bolt, and then the small bolt on both sides. And then you're gonna come back and torque down the big bolt, the medium bolt, and the small bolt at 70 foot-pounds, 40 foot-pounds, and 18 foot-pounds in that order. Do that for both sides. Grab you a set of side cutters, cut off the little wire that we used to fish the plate in there. It is no longer needed. Do that for both sides. Once you cut off the driver's side, grab that 12mm bolt we took out from earlier. Make sure to put that back in your frame and to hold those lines down. That is very important. It is normal to have a gap right here in the frame. It's just caused by that little metal bracket right there. This is completely normal. It's gonna be that way on both sides. You're also gonna have a gap on the back side. Our recovery points are straight. Your frame has a slight curve to it. This is normal. Don't worry about it. It doesn't affect anything. It's gonna be like that as well on both sides. The hole in the side of the recovery point, it is not used. It was used in our manufacturing process. It does not go to anything. Do not worry about it. Pop your plastic covers back on and you are done. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for purchasing our recovery points. Hope you never have to use them, but if you do, you have them.